Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ziprecruiter.com/zip. That's ziprecruiter.com/zip. ziprecruiter.com/zip.
In business, there's no room for guesswork. Every shipment matters. Every deadline counts. When you're trying to keep operations running smoothly, the last thing you need is uncertainty. That's why reliability is at the core of USPS Ground Advantage. From the moment your package is first scanned in, it moves through a secure nationwide network, aiding in a timely and accurate delivery. You get near real-time tracking so you can keep up with your shipments. And with affordable upfront pricing, there are no hidden fees or surprise surcharges to throw off your cost sheets. It all adds up to predictable deliveries you can depend on. Because knowing your logistics are handled lets you focus on everything else: your customers, your team, and the future you're building. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to start shipping with confidence. USPS, official shipping sponsor of the NHL.
This is Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Happy Memorial Day. Hope you're enjoying the long weekend. Those of you who get one. Stormy, Buonantony, Matt Brown today with you in for JVT. And it's been a while since I've worked with you in person. I kind of forgot about how big the Spaceship Control Center is. It's large. That's what you've got on the table here.
I'm having my Ed Orgeron moment here. I get fired, and then they bring me back later after a cooling off period to like slide back in and do my thing or whatever. So doing my little Ed Orgeron thing here. But yeah, feeling good.
Fun to be back with you today. Appreciate it. And also, I got to tell you right off the top here, not that you don't always have impeccable shoe game, but these are special what you've got going on your feet
today.
Right now.
Well, there's tennis going on here. We'll do that. So they're kind of like
cool.
They're kind of like terry whatever made out of like a tennis towel.
Yeah, terry cloth towel.
Like a towel that they would use to the sweat.
Do you have any coinciding French Open bets with your French Open shoes?
Look, I usually only bet the men's side, and with there only being one logical choice in this, I just decided I'll take in the tennis and have fun, maybe on a match-to-match basis here and there or something like that. But yeah, I don't really dabble on the women's side as much as other people do, and then this is a foregone conclusion.
Only when you're on a numbers game.
Yeah, it's like this is a foregone. Yeah, this is a foregone conclusion. Is going to win this?
That's fair. Also, of course, it being this Memorial Day, you have to remember why we get to do all of the awesome stuff that we get to do. The real reason behind this holiday. So, thank you to, of course, all of those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. Those of you that are still fighting for our freedoms, letting us have fun and do what we do here, which includes talking America's pastime and baseball. It is a loaded baseball day here at VSiN. We've got a couple games already in action right now. Cubs, Pirates, and Rays, Orioles, both still early in these games, but scoreless where we sit. So those of you sweating out F5 unders, we're in the balance here. There was about a 10-cent move in favor of the Cubs here, out to -126 favorites at close against the Pirates. And then Tampa opened as high as a -147 favorite in this one. Saw them get as low as -118 pre-first pitch in that game against Baltimore.
Yeah, it is. This is one of the pleasant surprises, I think, here of the short baseball season is just the Tampa Bay Rays team. Now, I kind of said in the preseason, for whatever reason, they always figure out a way to do it. So I don't get it. They don't have any superstars on this team. They just always figure out how to win games. I did not think they'd be this good. And, of course, I was on the Baltimore Orioles a little bit heavily in the offseason, and they got just ravaged by injury before the season even started. They have not figured out how to get it done. And so, yeah, this is a Rays team that we kind of start to have to think about as an actually really good team, as opposed to like, oh, this is a cute story. Like, this is a fine story. This team that doesn't have their super high paid superstars, it's actually going out there and leading this division. And no, I mean, this is a real team. I think we have to really start to look at them and consider them as one of those teams. The other game that's going out there right now with the Cubs, I mean, this team is just absolutely brutal right now. I mean, this is like, you can't even look at them the same way. This is a team that we thought was maybe in the upper echelon of Major League Baseball. And I think that they proved to us real quick. And yeah, there's some injuries that are going on out there and a couple of superstars in Bush and Pete Crow Armstrong that really started off incredibly slow and haven't really picked it up for them. But boy, this is a big-time bummer for this Cubs team.
They are in the midst of an 8-game losing streak right now, dropped 12 of their last 14, just swept at home from the Astros and Brewers. It has been rough. And looking at those 12 losses, by the way, 11 of them on the run line, too. So most of those losses have been by margin. We do have a couple more games that are set to begin in a moment. And, you know, when you're talking about the Rays, you bring up that question of, like, do we need to accept that they're a certain way or are they not? I think a lot of people have that question at times about the Milwaukee Brewers with how well they have played. They've got Jacob Mizorowski going. I think anybody questions him, but this team in general, like, what are your thoughts on Milwaukee? And they've got a good division matchup with St. Louis today.
I think they're the rightful favorite in the division, though I don't think the division is at all decided and settled. I think this is certainly something that we will talk about 3 or 4 different times over the course of the season as to, like, I don't know about that team. That team might be the bet now, you know? I don't know about that team. That team might be the bet. Miz is the definite that you're not worried about. There's a couple of guys in the lineup, too. I mean, Bryce Terang is amazing and has been and will continue to be. But, yeah, Miz is out there. And, like, all the stuff that you're seeing on the surface here with him is backed up by the advanced stats as well. And so that's the thing that we really look at because we're trying to it's great what you've done in the past, but as sports bettors, we are trying to predict what you're going to do in the future, right? And so with him, you see this 1.89 ERA, and you're kind of like, okay, that's unsustainable. Well, I mean, it's backed up by a 2.38, xERA. It's backed up by a sub-1 WHIP. He has a K rate of nearly 40%. It's just unbelievable. I wanted to back him in this. I just didn't think there was a way to do it.
Yeah.
He is now priced through the roof. I mean, he's getting priced like he should be, which is as one of the absolute very elite pitchers in Major League Baseball. And so he goes out and continues to just do it game after game. So I'm actually on the other side of this.
Ooh.
Like Matthew Laboratory, and not like I'm betting the Cardinals or something, but I took his over 4.5 strikeouts at plus 115, a little bit of plus money here on Laboratory. So guy that was getting a ton of hype in the offseason, had a great spring training, came in, struggled out of the gate. And then after that, last 5 games, he's got that K rate up to about 25%. Last 3 games, he's got that K rate up just shy of 30%. And so with that, for me, I think there's enough swing and miss in this to get some plus money on the 4.5. I think is a pretty nice bet. I still think that the Miz just destroys this team and they win, but I mean the price was just too much for me.
Yeah, that money line price out to minus 235 in the market right now.
Still round ball, round bat, weird things happen.
Yeah.
I don't like to do like minus 235 stuff.
Also set to get underway in a couple minutes. I don't know if you have anything else in this game as well, but Twins White Sox set to get started here. Zebby Matthews versus Anthony Kay on their respective hills. Pick 'em most spots, slight edge in favor of the Twins in a couple places, total down from 8.5 to 8.
Yeah, I didn't go this one. I backed the White Sox the last 2 days. One got home, one did not. This is a team that kind of under the radar, playing some pretty good baseball, certainly hitting the baseball pretty well. The problem is it's just the starting pitching for them. Anthony Kay, not very good. Zebby Matthews, and kind of like the Miz, is another one of these dudes that was just a super hyped prospect and has come up and pretty much lived up to it here in the short time that he's been up. It would be Minnesota or pass for me, but I don't have anything there.
Okay, we will get to more baseball a little bit later on in the show. Excited, we'll have Greg Peterson give some of his best bets for the day. But, I mean, we have buried the lead enough, ladies and gentlemen. We got a rundown, time to cruise through it.
It's time for the top headlines and topics of the day. This is the Rundown.
And when I say cruise through it, I mean it. I'm going to zip through this bad boy because we got some stuff to talk about. We have Call Me Crazy But on an Overreaction Monday, as usual. A couple exciting things that we're going to get to there, including one team that, should they win the Stanley Cup, I have absolutely no idea what to do with them for Conn Smythe. We also are going to talk plenty of NBA today, Matt, because in addition to what we saw last night with the Spurs evening the series with OKC, the Cavs are on the brink tonight, facing elimination against the New York Knicks, should the Brooms be out or not. We will preview that game together, but we'll also have Danny Cunningham on the program who covers the Cavs, and plenty in the National Hockey League. Big Game 3 coming up with the Canes and Canadiens, but we're going to start out here in Vegas because down 3-0 to up 3-0 in Vegas. See what I did there? What a comeback for Vegas last night. And now a 3-0 lead over the Colorado Avalanche last night on the ice. And I'm curious your opinion. Obviously, like, I get a little bit too deep in the weeds sometimes with some of this hockey stuff. But what did you watch last night?
I thought you were going to start this out with an apology.
An apology?
Oh, I didn't know. I happened to look over on VSiN.com. I saw who
I
you
know.
picked to win the game. I mean, I thought maybe this would just start out with a, hey, VGK, I'm sorry. I tried not to look through this with rose-colored glasses, and, I was trying to be objective, and I didn't let my heart take over something I knew was destiny to happen.
Look at this guy.
Which is a Vegas Golden Knights winning this.
So I still, for the record, have a Vegas 10-1 shot from the preseason to win the Stanley Cup. So there is still investment in Vegas. JVT and I last week did a full segment breakdown on how I thought Vegas could win this series. And then I still stupidly picked Colorado in 6. So not to say the series is over, but it kind of feels like the series is over. What a masterful win for Vegas last night. And the result really doesn't tell the story. The President's Trophy winning Colorado Avalanche come into T-Mobile last night, backs against the wall, gotta have it, gotta come out with energy. And they do, right? They take a 3-0 lead, which probably, like, if you're a Golden Knights fan like me, think it should have been 2-1.
Well, and then too, like, you're watching too, when it gets to 3-0, you've watched enough hockey. Most people have you're like, okay, well, this is about to get bad.
Well,
this is just going to go all downhill from here.
And there are people online that are calling for Carter Hart to get pulled and just save him coming up for Game 4. Although, and this is something like I've covered a handful of Golden Knights games this postseason, talking to John Tortorella, he's not going to do. He believes that Carter Hart, and having known him from their time in Philadelphia, wants to work his way through a game and wants to give him that opportunity to do so. He will only yank him at the last minute if it's really, really out of hand. Otherwise, he won't do it. So I knew he was going to keep him in. And credit to him, because he stood tall the rest of the way. And who else but captain Mark Stone in his first game back since getting injured Game 3 against Anaheim to start the rally on that power play goal less than a minute into the second period. So he scores, kind of gets things going. 4 minutes later, William Karlsson does the same. Mitch Marner with assists, by the way, on both of those goals as well. Keegan Colasar, who hadn't had a point this postseason, he delivers the equalizer. You're getting the depth scoring from the fourth line from everywhere. And then later on in this game, the third period, they're able to pull away. Tomas Hertl, who had a 29-game goalless drought, longest of his career, now has 3 goals and however many points in the last 6 games. I'm very impressed with the way they've turned this series on its head, and the way that, I mean, they looked worse against the Anaheim Ducks than they have against the Colorado Avalanche. It's crazy.
This was, we talk about the foregone conclusion when we were sitting here talking about the tennis tournament. I mean, this was a foregone conclusion. Yeah. It was great for showing up, Golden Knights, but it's not going to happen this year for you. And instead, here they go with this 3-0 lead. And you asked what I was going through last night. I honestly, after the 3-0 and the way that hockey goes, and then just the way, honestly, it felt like maybe it had zapped the energy out of that building too. I'm like, man, we're probably going to be looking at like a 5-0 game. I actually texted Samich and I was like, what's the over-under on fights in the third period? Because, when you get down big, it's just like, well, what else can I do? I'm just going to fight you. And like that's basically what happens. And instead, you said came out in the second period and looked like a completely different squad and flipped this thing on its head. And that just, I think, goes to the grit and experience of this team and these guys and the coaches and everything like that, man. It was really cool to watch.
We'll talk more about this game and this series a little bit later. Worth noting from an injury standpoint, Cale Makar also did come back for the Avs, but Nathan McKinnon, they lose him with I think it was like an 82-mile-an-hour puck off the knee, and he was hobbled after that. So no update on him from Jared Bednar after the game. We'll see if we get one in short order. But on that note, we got to shift gears to the NBA coming up next. What we saw last night with OKC and San Antonio, and pushing it forward to a gotta-have-it game for Cleveland tonight.
Hey, let me get your attention real quick, podcast listeners. I've got something for you that feels too good to be true. First, credit where credit is due. If you're listening to this podcast, you're already leveling up your betting game. You're riding along with our best bets and top angles, and when there's a good game on, you're probably getting involved with a few props and alt markets as well. But there's one more layer if you really want to step things up, and that's VSiN Pro. Yeah, I've mentioned it before, but things are only getting better for our pro subscribers. We just rolled out our MLB prop projections, breaking down some of the best edges across strikeouts, hits, home runs, and more. And that's on top of everything else pro subscribers already get, including public betting splits, expert picks, and betting guides across the sports calendar. If you haven't tried it yet, stop sleeping on it. You can get your first month for just $9.99 or save big with promo code POD26 on an annual subscription. Hit the link in the description and start cashing in with VSiN Pro. All right, now back to the show.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158. Stormy, Buonantony, Matt Brown in for JVT today. And look at that. Already, solo shot, homer, Brooks Lee off Anthony K to get things going.
Yep, Twins, like I said. I didn't want to do the Twins are nothing for me there in that one. We look on the other TV and we watch the Miz just blowing 103-mile-an-hour fastballs by these guys. 97-mile-an-hour slider. Like, when I was a kid, a starting pitcher that threw 95 miles an hour with a fastball, you'd be like, man, I got those 95. These guys on a 97-mile-an-hour slider. Like, I mean, the ball moves. It's just unbelievable. We have evolved as human beings.
Still scoreless there. Just 2 outs in the top of the first to get things going. Scoreless everywhere else in Major League Baseball as well. Cubs Pirates in the top of the third, still sitting 0-0. Same thing in the bottom of 3 for Rays Orioles. Let's get our first look, though, at what we've got coming up tonight in the NBA. Knicks 1 game away from reaching the NBA Finals for the first time this millennium. Have not lost a game since April 23rd. 10 straight wins now. We have 9-1 ATS in that time as well, and they haven't just won. They have been dominant time after time after time, especially in closeout games too. Should that scare Cleveland? And if so, how much?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on the Knicks this whole series. I don't think there's any reason for me to kind of back off now with them. Played a money line, didn't even worry about the points in game number 3, and mainly because I just think they're the better team top to bottom. And the way that they have been able to shift their focus on offense, and these guys have been adaptable, which is also pretty cool to see, right? I mean, you see Karl Anthony Towns being okay with playing almost like the Jokic without the scoring role, which is like, okay, I'm going to get rebounds and I'll assist and like, I'll score when I need to, but he's okay being the guy where the offense runs through as opposed to being the focal point. You see Brunson go for his 30 and whatever and all that. And like, you just don't really see that coming on the Cleveland side of things. Very sloppy, the play in general. And I just, to me, it would shock me if you see this just rally the troops moment here from Cleveland. It doesn't feel like it's one of those type of deals. It does not feel like let's not go out, and get swept here. Let's, win one for the people at home. It kind of feels like how quick can we get to Cancun, They're texting each other VRBOs, like stuff like that. Like, what do you think about this one?
I mean, you're not wrong. It doesn't feel like they have a lot of fight in them at this point. They're struggling to shoot the ball. They're struggling to defend. Last I checked, that's how you play basketball.
It is.
Right? You have to shoot the ball in the hoop and stop the other team from doing it.
It certainly helps.
Donovan Mitchell, largely been a no-show. I know he said he's fine, but he hasn't looked like it. James Harden has had his issues. It's no secret. They're getting out coached as well. And let's go down that road here real quickly because the Knicks might be up 3-0 in this series, but according to the Cavs head coach, it actually could be 2-1 the other way. This is where we hear Kenny Atkins.
I think
hopefully,
analytically, I think we won the expect. I said 3 out of 3. We're 2 out of 3 in the expected. I don't know if you guys follow that. There's an expected score, and we won 2 out of 3. And I know you're looking confused, but I'm not. There is really, if you believe in process and all that, like man, take that layer. I know I don't throw that on them. I see it for myself. We have this feeling, I have this feeling, then I can go to our analytical table and be like, man, we are, I think last night it was, the expected score was like 1 point or 2. Us shooting way below expected, them shooting way over. I know no one wants to hear that. I think you guys like hearing it. I know, general public, no one wants to hear it. Everyone's outcome based, and, sure, I get that too.
I know the practice audio in the background is a little bit distracting, but the gist of it, talking about the analytics and the expected points, that 2 of the 3 games, they've actually had the edge in those. And to me, it seems like you're grasping at straws, trying to find something for your team right now. How do you see it?
It's a thing of maybe if you want to sit in the room with like the other coaches and stuff and try to like look at some positives, if you're talking to the owner or you're talking maybe even in the locker room to the dudes to try to make them feel better about what's going on. I don't think that's what you say to the media because it does make it look like you're going, well, we're not really that bad. Like, look at this, what this says. And so like, I mean, I am a big time analytics dude and I'm watching that going, oh bro, come on, don't go there. And then he just kept going. It's like, no, This is painful. Just end it. Yeah, it was tough. It was a tough watch. And
Justin and I were texting about this earlier. Our producer, Justin Emery, by the way, behind the glass. We were just like, what is he doing?
Yeah. It was, as the kids would say, cringe.
Okay.
It was cringe.
I do appreciate like he's trying to take some of the heat off his team right now. Yeah. And we saw him do that earlier in the series as well, trying to come to the defense of James Harden. But for a guy who has already committed numerous acts of coaching malpractice throughout the course of this series, it's just another bad look, I feel like, for him at this point right now. And also, this doesn't go to coaching, but seems to be like a fatigue issue too with the Cavs. I get that they played a long series against the Pistons and it was a physical series, but it just looks like the Knicks are better in all facets right now. And that's with them still, this Cleveland Cavaliers team finding a way to have had a 22-point lead in game 1 and just withering it away. Yeah, and
this is where I think there's going to be people who have watched this series and just want to let their brain take over than the people who do a lot of the zigzag stuff or with the betting and whatnot, because we've already seen. So it's a flat 2 here and at Fanatics. So the hook is gone at those places. My screen just flashed. The score went to 1.5. And so don't call it ESPN bet. The score bet out there is 1.5. And, you're still 2.5 DraftKings, FanDuel, MGM. But this is some money coming in on Cleveland. Yeah. I think there's a lot of those people that do a ton of NBA betting go, there's no way they're going to lose 4 games in a row. Maybe there are the guys that are looking at the analytics and saying, like, it should be a better outcome than what we've seen so far with all of this. Me, eyeball guy, I just don't see it. I just don't see it.
Well, and you look at the betting splits, though, just to further your thought on kind of the level of support that's coming in on Cleveland. Earlier today, like DraftKings had 78% of the bets on the Knicks, 92% of the handle. Circa, though, where you get some of those bigger and sharper bets come in, 75% of the bets, but 64% of the handle on the Knicks. So you saw that even earlier this morning, and now obviously the numbers are moving and adjusting as such. One last note on this game, because I do want to discuss OKC San Antonio briefly as well. The Knicks have been so good in closeout games. And I mentioned it in passing off the top of this block, but at Atlanta in game 6, they were 3.5-point favorite, win that game by 51. At Philly, game 4, because it's a similar situation. This one, right? Backs against the wall. They're going to show up. 1.5-point favorite. They win by 30. Like, they have just found a way to step up in the gotta have a game.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell's point prop is at 26.5 tonight. He has failed to meet this at any point in this series. In 5 of the last 6 playoff games. I also think this is at home too. And so if they are getting run off the court, then it's going to be the ceremonious taking the starters off and letting the crowd give them their last little thanks for the season and stuff like that. Like, I think 26.5 is too much for Donovan Mitchell. I played some under on that.
Okay. How about last night? So San Antonio takes game 4, ties the series at 2. Big response game for them that they needed. I mean, big in terms of importance, evening the series, but also just big in terms of the margin of victory. A 21-point win for them on their floor. 103-82, easy cover in the 3-point spread, goes well under as well, due in large part to San Antonio's defensive effort here. They hold OKC to their worst offensive performance in nearly 5 years. It's the second lowest postseason output of any team this year. I mean, they only had 31 first half points. So can San Antonio, I guess, keep this up? Or was this just a matter of OKC missing some key pieces and the lack of depth maybe showing up a little bit?
Yeah, well, so the thing with OKC is their strength is also a weakness of theirs, which is their strength is they can go 8 guys deep on the bench, 9 guys deep on the bench. But the problem is when one of those guys doesn't step up and help, because right now it's all SGA and they are rolling the defense over on him incredibly tough. I mean, this dude is and you're a superstar. You're still supposed to be able to overcome that. I know Michael Jordan did it. LeBron did it, all of this, but the defense is keyed on you. And they're basically saying, okay, any of you other guys go out and beat us, right? Chet is the softest 7'1" guy I've ever seen in my life.
It's not good.
It is. He has not grasped the moment at all. And you look, and this dude who is, does have the talent to be a difference maker in this league, just for whatever reason is passive. I don't know if he's intimidated by Wemby. I don't know what's going on out there, but he's not doing anything. 3 of 8. He only goes out there and helps and chips in with 10 points in this thing. I think this series is really, really, really up for grabs, because if SGA doesn't go get the 30 points, then the scoring differential for the help that he's getting is just too much.
I mean, if he doesn't have other guys that can help him create, he's going to get brutalized defensively, right? Like, they were all over him. Like, I was looking at some of the numbers. All but one of his shots were contested last night.
Destroyed.
So what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, it destroyed. And then, so you got the Caruso game. Caruso goes for 0 last night, right? Like the couple of wins, they did have the one weird guy step up and score the 20 points and make up for the differential. But when you don't have that, then you end up with a game like this.
And with that, so looking ahead in the series, though, OKC still a substantial favorite here, minus 220 for the series. They're laying 5.5 back at home, trying to reclaim home court against San Antonio. Total 215.5, some 216.5 there as well. If you want to look ahead, or if you're looking for tonight's some additional bets, you go to VSiN.com right now. Our guy Zach Cohen has so much content up on the website. Also, the VSiN.com/picks page has picks from all of our VSiN show hosts and analysts. And if you want to come join us on a full-time basis, you're getting a hell of a deal right now. 14 months, so an extra 2 months incorporated in this for $199. Use our promo code PRO, P-R-O, at VSiN.com/subscribe today. We'll be right back.
Put on your tinfoil hats.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. The whole world gone crazy.
For Call Me Crazy, but...
Today, as we welcome you back here to Money Moves, Stormy Buonantony, Matt Brown with you, and I'm just going to jump right in here real quickly, because call me crazy, but the Golden Knights are winning the cup, aren't they? We're just, after all this talk about it being a Colorado Avalanche, Carolina Hurricanes collision course, the team that is like the most hated in the league right now is just going to get there and win it again, aren't they?
Yeah, they, by the way, if you are not a hockey fan and you don't follow around hockey fans, it have been through torture with their team, you will start to realize the hatred that is around the Golden Knights franchise, that it was instant success, and the success has basically kept up for the entirety of the whole existence of the team.
What is this now? Like 5 Western Conference final. They've only missed the playoffs once in their existence. If they do go on and win this series, which it looks like they will, up 3-0 right now against Colorado, they'll be in a 3rd Stanley Cup final. They've already won one. It's just like typical.
There are diehard hockey fans who, out of nowhere, it is VGK that is the most hated team. Like, you have a rival that you grew up since you were 5 years old hating, and now it's VGK. Like, you're just like, I can't deal with this anymore.
Give John Tortorella a lot of credit, by the way, too. Vegas, since he took over March 30th, 8-4-1. They've scored 89 goals those 23 games, plus 37 goal differential, both best in the league. The 52 goals against, second best in the league. He said last night, too, that this was a game that his team showed some footballs, but removed the word foot. There
you go. I like it. I see what you were going with there.
Creativity there. Yeah, where are you going first today for Call Me Crazy?
So, did you hear about the enhanced games that went down yesterday?
Yes, I have. I did not watch.
Okay, I didn't watch either. But
I pulled it up on YouTube for a moment, and I saw there were like 68,000 active viewers, though, so people were watching.
It's an intriguing concept, I think, but it proved absolutely nothing, because they went and got a bunch of like washed up athletes to do this.
Okay, so like no records were set.
Yeah, one guy broke one of the swimming records, except not only was he on the juice, but he was also wearing, remember like when they had the super suits that you could wear? It was the little like, the
singlet?
Yeah. They got banned. Like, it's been banned for like 15 years now or something. Well, he was allowed to wear that too. So because there was so not only was he on the juice, but he got to wear like the band like suit or something like that. So to me, it's an intriguing idea, but it didn't really prove anything. It's a bunch of washed up athletes that if you go and you look, like the 100 meters was like a second off of the world record. Like all of these things. If you went and got maybe the actual best athletes in the world that were clean to go against some dudes that just wanted to be able to take stuff in their prime, now that could be an interesting concept of, can you really enhance the body to
people
whatever?
Aren't going to do that in
but
their
they
prime.
won't do that because
they want to play.
So it's like it's an intriguing thought, but it's just never going to like do anything.
I just wanted to see if there were a bunch of people that would come out and like set a world record or do something like that to show that there is a significant difference when you actually do pipe that stuff into your body, aside from just the visual element of it. And so, but to your point, when they're guys that are past their prime, it doesn't make the difference. Sorry. Call me crazy, but why aren't we talking more about Mike Brown? Especially just given the pressure-laden situation that he was put into when he took the job. I know I was among the several people that were looking at the decision to fire Tom Thibodeau after they had unprecedented success. Like, what are you doing? He walks into a situation where ownership is telling you, you need to make and win the NBA Finals or it's not good enough. The Eastern Conference Final isn't good enough. And he has just come out here and delivered every step of the way. And we already talked about Kenny Atkinson on the other side of him in this series. So maybe I'm just looking at it through a lens of, well, Kenny Atkinson is so bad, it's making Mike Brown look that much better. But considering the situation he was put in and how masterful he has been at, especially think of one of the biggest issues with Tom Thibodeau was the way that he just grinded down the starting five and didn't get anything from the depth. Like, Brown is getting that in spades, it feels like.
And like I said, what I really enjoy about this team so far too is like they've turned different levers and pulled different knobs, pulled different levers, turned different knobs. There we go, whatever. They're turning and pulling, whatever you want to turn and pull, doesn't really matter. And that's what I really have enjoyed about watching this team is like, hey, you go out one night and if Cat needs to be the scorer, he can, but like there's multiple ways for this team to beat you, multiple ways for this team to win. I think that's a lot to do with what Brown is doing in the locker room.
OKC back to odds on, minus 110 to win it all, but the Knicks plus 260 right there to get it done.
All right. This is a bold one because, we're very early in this, but I think we need to soak this in because I think we are currently watching who will eventually go down as the unquestioned greatest of all time in the NBA. So this is not the whole LeBron, Michael Jordan argument type thing. I think Wemby will be so ahead of everybody else that it will not be a debate anymore because what he is doing in all facets of the game at his size, at his age, currently now, and we know his athletic prime is still 3-4 years away. We are going to, again, all this always revolves around health, and I understand we already had a little bit of a health thing with him and whatnot, but I bet he shows up 10 pounds heavier next year to be able to battle a little bit more. You can see the fire that this guy has. He doesn't want to be the skinny kid that gets knocked around down there. He doesn't like that at all, and it wouldn't surprise me if he takes this very, very, very seriously and becomes the unquestioned GOAT. Not like we have to argue LeBron and Michael Jordan. It's like, no, this guy's 7'4". He's shooting 34% from three, and he's getting 12 rebounds a game, and all these things.
And paired with the team youth that he has right now, that they could, as a core and as a group, like go on to just continue to win
and become this dynasty that we've had and before. Like we always talk about the block, Stormy. That is great. That number's great. That's a counting stat. But it's all the other shots that he makes people miss.
And that he makes. The 40-footer at halftime yesterday, making it look like it's a mid-range jumper. The dude is just, he is an alien. I do not think you're crazy at all. I would not be surprised if, as the years go on, that's what we're talking about. And the fact that even after SGA won MVP this year and he wins Defensive Player of the Year, he's just talking about the feeling that he had not getting it and that he wants to have those trophies in the case. I think is pretty cool. Speaking of MVPs, if the Carolina Hurricanes do go on to win the Stanley Cup this year, I have no idea who their MVP is going to be. So Conn Smythe, the market is up right now. Frederik Andersen has been the short shot for Carolina the entire way. But I have been pretty adamant that I am not on the Freddie Andersen train. He's going to mess it up at some point. We already saw that game one of this series with Montreal, and I do not think it is the last. This is a team that prior to this past week had only played 8 games in the postseason, right? So they have the potential. Femi brought this up on the show on Thursday, that they have the potential now to play almost as many games as they have the entire playoffs just in this series alone. And Frederik Andersen is going to have issues. So I'm looking down the line and like, what else do you do here? Because at first it was pretty obvious that Logan Stankoven was the next name, or maybe Taylor Hall. You look at that second line and what they've been able to do. Maybe you just like throw a dart and pick one of them. I have no freaking idea who is going to elevate enough come Stanley Cup final time, because I just don't see it being Frederik Andersen. I don't know. Oh, by the way, and I should have mentioned this when we talked about Vegas, tried to tell y'all about Mitch Marner. We told you over and over and over again, if you thought Vegas was going to have a chance in this series, you bet Marner at 12-1. He's plus 180 now, by the way.
So basically you're saying I need to go in and bet a long shot right now just to have it in the account.
If there was somebody to bet right now, I just said I think Vegas is winning the Stanley Cup. I think Jack Eichel at 20-1 is a very attractive wager.
So,
but I like Mitch Marner to win it. That's why I told everybody 12-1 back then. But now, in terms of numbers, I think, yeah.
Call me crazy, but I really, really want to know what the bet was and how much Travis Kelce won.
So tell me about this.
And if you did not see this, so Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift were sitting courtside at the previous Cavs game.
Yep.
And at one point, he taps her and goes, I won. And then she says to him, how much did you win? And then he realizes I probably have cameras on me, and he actually covers his mouth and doesn't say. And then she goes, oh, that's great. So this is a billionaire who says, oh, that's great. I need to know what he won, and I need to know how much he won, because if she went, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That means 5 figures minimum.
Unbelievable, yeah.
Minimum, but it's probably like 6 figures.
And at what point in the game was this?
It was kind of towards the end. So It was in the fourth quarter at some point. So I need to know what the bet was and how much he won.
Yeah. Very, very curious to know as well. I want to know how hyped Taylor Swift security guards are that they get to go to sporting events now.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to be just chilling. My last one is, call me crazy, but it's not that hard to put your shopping cart away at the store. I was at Target yesterday, and I was appalled at how many shopping carts were like strewn about, left up on the curb, or like taking up parking spaces. Just like, people, be a normal human being in society and take the extra 15 seconds to walk to the rack. And I'm not going to give this account pub, but somebody quote tweeted me when I tweeted about this yesterday and said, I'm in a hurry. They pay others to do that. It's not a big deal. Mind your business.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
You weren't too much in a hurry to go shopping to begin with. Yeah. It's 30 seconds max to go put the thing away.
Have you seen the Cart Narcs account?
Yes.
Okay.
They tweeted me as well. They retweeted.
Yeah,
Thank you.
There's good.
But it's just such, yes, that person might be paid to do that, but it is so disrespectful to their job. It's like going to a restaurant and as you leave, flipping someone the bird just because.
I've had bonding moments in parking lots because of this, because I'll go like, I can't even believe this. And a guy will walk by like, can you believe people do this? You know, like you actually have brief little bonding moments in the deal. My final one that'll take 10 seconds is, does everything need a subscription? Like everything now is a subscription. You're like, oh, you want your flashlight to work on your phone? It's $1.99 a month now or whatever. You want your computer, you want your calculator to do division? 99-cent upgrade, like on your phone. Like everything's a subscription.
It's like how tip culture got out of hand with the spin around the app. I feel like that's what's happening with subscriptions now. It's just there has to be something to everything. Yeah. You guys tell us. Tweet at us, okay? We got to step aside here on Money Moves. More coming up on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
It's win or stay home for the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight as we welcome you back to Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, alongside Matt Brown today. Stormy Buonantony with you. Huge game for Cleveland against the New York Knicks as New York trying to sweep this thing. To help us break it all down, excited to have Danny Cunningham join us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Covers the Cavs for the Inside Shot on Substack. You can also check out Locked On Cavs or hosting it at 92.3 The Fan. Let's get into this thing. Can Cleveland make things interesting and at least force a Game 5 here? What do you think?
I think they can. I would be a little surprised if they did, but I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that they find a way to win on Monday night, because I do think when you look at this, and I know that Kenny Atkinson's comments that, he kind of said, analytically, we've won 2 out of 3, came across as, I think, a little bit tone deaf at practice on Sunday. He's not wrong. Like, the Cavs have done a really good job of generating some really good looks against the Knicks, and they haven't been able to make them. Like, they're shooting, I believe, below 30% on open and wide open 3-pointers in the first 3 games of the series. And that's the biggest reason why they're down 3-0 in this series. So, like, they can win a game, certainly. They just need to find a way to hit shots. But ultimately, I think that this is a team that, because they had to play a 7-game series against Toronto and then play another 7-game series against Detroit, I think they're out of gas more than anything.
So, Danny, when we look at this, if we're talking about tonight and the Cavs figure out a way to not only win but look good in winning, what has to change? What has to be different from what we've seen so far? Because it does just feel like, I don't know, there was just not quite that extra gear needed to get it done.
Honestly, I think thing number one is making open shots. And I know that's a boring answer. I get that. But that is the thing, that if they're hitting shots at a really good rate or even an average rate, I think this series looks a lot differently. I think at worst, the Cavs are down 2-1, if not in front in this series. So that is thing number one. And two, I do think that they need to find a way to have more energy. The Knicks in game 3 in particular, I didn't think it was this way. Certainly not in game 1 where the Cavs built that 22-point lead. And I didn't even think it was this way in game 2. But I thought in game 3, the Knicks were the team that looked like they were a step, maybe even 2 steps quicker than the Cavs were. And I think that's partially the result that the Cavs have played so much basketball and the Knicks went into this series with such a massive rest advantage because they were the team that took care of business in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. And the Cavs didn't do that. So I think that those things are probably correlated too, like the fact that the Cavs look a little bit slow. They look like they don't have a ton of energy. And the fact that they're not making shots, I think is probably pretty connected to that. So I look at this as if the Cavs can find a way to bring more energy, to play with a sense of urgency, a sense of desperation that their season is on the line because, it actually is on the line on Monday night, then they'll be able to give themselves a chance. I just wonder how much is left in the gas tank to be able to do that.
Yeah, and to your point, they played 4 more games than New York has this postseason. The fatigue maybe showing up there. So maybe you do look to a first quarter, a first half in favor of Cleveland if you do think they can get out the gate strong, but then maybe not hold on. Obviously, if they're going to start scoring, Donovan Mitchell is going to need to be at the core of that. What have you seen? What's going on with him? Is this a him problem? Is this the way New York is playing him? How have you seen it?
I don't think he's looked himself physically. I do think that this is a him problem throughout this series because New York has a very good defense and they've got some really talented individual defenders, right? OG Anunoby is a fantastic defender, but he's not, in my opinion, as good as Asar Thompson from the Detroit Pistons, who gave Donovan Mitchell a lot of problems in the second round. And I don't think OG Anunoby is as good of a defender for Donovan Mitchell as even Scotty Barnes, who we saw defend Donovan Mitchell and give him problems in the first round against the Raptors. I think that Donovan looks like somebody who is dealing with something physically, hasn't been disclosed. But I think if you watch these games, you can tell that Donovan doesn't have that same level of burst that we're used to watching him have, right? He's not able to get to the basket in the way that he's been able to throughout the entire course of the season and in previous postseasons. It's not as if he hasn't been a really good playoff player before. This year, I think, has been below his standard, and I think that there's something physically that he's been dealing with. And if you're watching these games, I think you can see that he just doesn't quite look right. And you do have to give the Knicks a lot of credit, too. It's easy for me to sit here and say, well, the Cavs are hitting shots, but the Knicks are also playing, I think, the best basketball of any team left in the playoffs at this point.
Let me go ahead and just play off of that comment right there. So if this does go the way of the Knicks, do you think that they actually have a shot in the finals against either one of these teams in the West?
I absolutely think they have a shot. I wouldn't pick them to win a series against San Antonio. I certainly would not pick them against OKC. I think OKC would give them a lot of problems. I think they could. I think they have a better chance against San Antonio, but, and I also think we have to look back at last year. I know that no 2 seasons are the same and no 2 teams are the same, but going into the finals last year, we thought, okay, this run from Indiana, it's been nice, right? They upset the Cavs, but the Cavs were hurt. They beat the Knicks. This Indiana team's a lot of fun, but no one gave them a chance against Oklahoma City. And had Tyrese Halliburton not torn his Achilles, they probably find a way to win that game 7 on the road. And I do think that this Knicks team is more talented than that Pacers team was. I think they're playing better basketball right now than that Pacers team was. They absolutely 100% would have a chance to win 4 games against a team from the West. I don't know that I would be comfortable picking them to do so. I might actually pick them against San Antonio given the lack of experience the Spurs have, but I think that if both teams are healthy, the Thunder would be a different beast for them. I'm not sure they could handle that, but I can't sit here and say, it's a nice story, but it gets to the finals and we all know how that's going to go. I think these things have become a little bit more unpredictable, and the Knicks, why not, kind of is where I'm at right now with them.
Speaking of that unpredictability, I feel like the nation at large was very pro New York coming into the series, but there were a select few people that were making a pretty rock solid argument for how Cleveland could compete with New York across a long series. And in the beginning of that first game, when they get up and they have this 22-point lead late, you think, okay, wow, maybe Cleveland really can kind of go toe-to-toe with this team throughout the course of a series. What happened to that team? Why haven't we really seen Cleveland, outside from a couple of bursts, be that group?
because I just don't think they physically have it left in them. I think that the fact that the Knicks probably were a little rusty in game one probably contributed to that. And if you go back and watch that game, especially in the third quarter, where that's when the Cavs were able to really put that lead, because they were down by, I think, 4 at halftime or something, or they were up by 1 at halftime in game one, excuse me. And then that third quarter, I thought they played excellent basketball. Like, their decision-making process was as good as it's been. They were making the right play over and over and over again. They scored 35 points in that quarter, but they were 4-14 on threes, and they were 3 of 9 on wide open threes in that quarter. And that's kind of where they lost that game, because their process, if you will, I thought was good enough for them to score like 45 or 50 points in that quarter, and they underachieved. And from that point forward, they haven't physically really been able to answer the bell, because I think their process in at least the first 2 games was pretty good. And I don't think it was bad in game 3, but it was better in the first 2 games. And they physically have not been able to make the plays that they have created for themselves. And I think that's the sign of a team that is just doesn't have anything left. They've played every other game since April 29th. And the Knicks have played, after tonight, if the Knicks win this game, they will have played 8 games in 33 days before the NBA Finals. Like, that to me is the biggest difference. The Knicks, you can make the case, certainly more talented team, are playing their best basketball right now. But I think the biggest difference in this series is the Knicks are rested and refreshed and ready, and the Cavs are exhausted.
Talking to Danny Cunningham. Danny, if this does go the way of the Knicks tonight and we have to go into the offseason, what does this team look like next year? What do the Cavs look like next year? Obviously, this Harden trade is going to be absolutely scrutinized up and down more than it already has been. Are they going to blow it up, or is there really a chance that LeBron tries to do a homecoming thing? Like, what do you think this team looks like next year?
I will start with the last part first. I don't think you can ever rule out LeBron James returning to Cleveland. Like, that would not shock me. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but like, until he signs somewhere else or decides that he's done playing basketball professionally, I'm not going to ever say there's no chance LeBron comes back to Cleveland. Now, I don't know how strong of a chance it is, but I would never say never as far as that goes. I don't think the Cavs are in a position to blow it up, though, because I think that you can look at this one of 2 ways. I'm not going to say which way is correct, which way is wrong. But the Cavs can sit here and say, well, they traded for James Harden on February 2nd, I believe it was, or maybe it was February 1st. And right now it's May 25th as we record. And that is not a lot of time to figure these things out, right? Like, it takes a lot of time for teams to gel, to play together, all those things. And the Cavs did not have that benefit. So they can look themselves in the mirror and say, this is a group that, yes, the core was in place, but you made some really big changes during the season, and you still got to the conference finals. They can tell themselves that was a success, and that with more time, they'll be able to figure things out next year. Are they going to be right? I don't know, but I think that's probably the most likely path they take, just because they can say, hey, if we get a full season, think of how good we can be. I don't know if that's true, but I think that's probably the path they'll take.
Danny, you're awesome. Thank you so much for the time today. Enjoy the game.
Thank you both for having me. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Danny Cunningham, you can follow him on X as well, at Real D Cunningham, doing a great job. Locked on Cavs, Substack, The Inside Shot, and of course hosting over at 92.3 The Fan. A couple of things when we come back I'd like to react to, actually, from what we were talking about with Danny specifically, how much he brought up the fatigue element of this for Cleveland, how that could play into a potential handicap for tonight. Of course, plenty of hockey still to come, baseball as well. Stick around. We're resetting hour 2 of the program coming up right here on Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.